I have all the hardware stripped out of the boat so I can paint it. I got the driver figure painted, trying to match the Atlas van line's colors. And I got the engine air breather painted, using silver to simulate the chrome. I have this tester's paint kit and did not have all the exact colors I needed. So I mixed the blue and the white for the light blue Atlas van line's colors on his uniform. And of course, red and yellow make orange for his orange helmet and the high-vis stripes on his life jacket. When I'm doing fine detail painting, like on the driver figure, I use a toothpick. I use it to mix the paint on an envelope and also to paint the fine details. The brush is just not fine enough for detail. Using a toothpick, you can do a nice job on the finer details, like the straps on his goggles and helmet, a little dash of red on his lips. Try it. Works way better than a paintbrush. Getting creative with materials just laying around. Need a steering wheel. Can't have his hands just hanging out in the air. Made the steering wheel from a piece of black wire. Cut the spokes out. It's a 32nd balsa. Again, painting with a toothpick. Glued it all in place. Then painted the spoke silver and the center of the steering wheel black. If you think about it, the high dollar items on any model is the kit, the electronics, and the hardware. Scale details don't cost a lot of money, but sure makes them look like $1 million. I have the scale dash in there, and I've added the holes in the spokes on the steering wheel. Most of the time, scale details is more a matter of paying attention to the detail and thinking to do it, and then making the effort. It's like this windshield. It matches the color on the 1-to-1. What this is exposed sheets of X-ray that I've saved from my previous job in aerospace. A buddy of mine was into building airplanes, turned me on to that. Every time before they would X-ray the rocket motors that we built, they would warm up the machine just by running a sheet of X-ray through it, and it would turn it this color, and he would go down and get them and save them for tinted windows for model airplanes. So again, it's a matter of having the idea to do it. Doesn't cost a lot of money, it just takes an effort. The dashboard is actually a screenshot of the 1-to-1, and I've printed it and reduced it in size, and I have a layer of epoxy. I've coated it with epoxy to waterproof it. I have to do that to seal the ink, or else when it gets wet it would bleed. I still have to do the backside of that printing to seal it, both sides. And then I'm going to paint the back of it. I believe it's black in the pictures. I had pictured all these details in my mind when I started the build. Wasn't sure if I would be able to fit it all in, mostly because of the depth I made the cockpit. I could only go so deep with it because of the clearance cutout for the motor. Remember what I said about thinking about it and then making the effort? I'm not done with the cockpit yet. I'm going to paint the bottom of the cockpit black, and I'm going to make the top of the seat back where it wraps around the driver. Think about it, then make the effort. Do it. I have 3 coats of white paint laid down on the entire hull. First coat was just a tack coat, and I did 2 more light coats with a little bit of model light fill in between for any imperfections that I had, mostly just on the balsa grain in a few places, and where I didn't get perfect fill and sanding on some of the glue joints. It's 90% there, but if you look at it really close, catch it in the light, you can still see the layers from the balsa wood stack, joints where the exhaust keyed in, and catch it just right in the light. There's a joint, and there's a joint where I extended the cowling. But I'll let this cure out and I'll wet sand it. This white is going to be the base for the entire paint job for all the stripes and graphics. Here's a result of wet sanding before laying down the final coat of white. Get rid of all the lines where I built the stack. Can't see the lines where this keyed block goes in with the exhaust opening. Or where I added that middle section to extend the cowling. It's going to take a lot of taping. This is just for the dark blue stripes on the fins and wing. Taking wider tape, cutting different thickness strips, number 11 X-Acto, get spacing, these strips and these strips. Nice thing is you lay out the dark stripes first. That sets up the whole paint scheme. And the blue, the lighter blue, fills in between, and then the white is already there. It's a base coat. Kind of laying out the graphics on the fin a little bit there too.